through a very hot and difficult week. The board recognizes and appreciates your dedication. Hopefully fall weather is now with us and we can enjoy more seasonable weather for this time of year. And I'll keep your fingers crossed that Hurricane Lee goes out to sea and up north. I'm looking forward to the start of this year with the many new programs we are offering and the implementation of our new curriculum. I will be listening closely to your reports on how these initiatives are progressing. Thank you. Now, I'll open the floor to citizens' comments, and I remind you that we keep citizens' comments to 3 minutes. State your name and address before making your comment. So for the audience first, and then I'll go to Zoom. Anyone from the floor want to make a citizen's comment? Okay, hearing none. The Zoom audience, anyone in the Zoom audience want to make a citizen's comment? Raise your hand. Okay, none? Well, then we'll go on to the next item 5, approval of minutes. The minutes from the regular meeting, Monday, August 14th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion, Kathleen.
Thank you, Jess. Second?
I'll second.
Val has the second. Any discussion on these minutes? Hearing no discussion, I'll put these minutes out to the floor for a vote on the regular meeting minutes of Monday, August 14th. All in favor of accepting these minutes as is, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone not wanting to accept them, say no. Any abstentions? Oh, they pass unanimously. The next item, any subcommittee updates? I don't believe we've had any subcommittee meetings. We are having a communication subcommittee on the 25th.
I believe that.
6 o'clock. Okay. And I will turn it over to the superintendent for the enrollment report.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and happy new school year. Just
Okay,
to.
wait a minute, hold it. It's not on. It's not on. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go back up. All right.
Absolutely.
What is not on the agenda, so I didn't screw up, is with the 2 student liaisons, please stand up and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I am Tara Hefman. I'm your returning student board of ed liaison, and this is my senior year.
Hi, I'm Megan Nopsigal. This is my first year as student liaison, and I'm a junior in high school.
Okay. Do you have a report?
We do.
Could we take a vote to add this, or do we need, okay, add
I'll make
this?
the motion that we add the student liaison report above number 7 superintendent report.
Okay, so that would be like number 6B or
Yep.
6, yeah. Yes.
All right. On September the 4th, there was no school because of Labor Day.
Whoa, we didn't vote on it.
Oh.
Do I have a second
I
for
was
that?
ready.
Linda has the second. All in favor of adding numbers VIB? Say yes.
Yes.
Any no's? No. Any abstentions? Okay, it passes.
Okay. We'll try this again. September 4th was no school because of Labor Day. September 7th was senior college and financial aid workshop. September 8th was senior sunrise in the boys' first soccer game. September 11th, which is today, was the girls' soccer game, and we won.
Nice.
September 13th is a Pride Day. September 15th is the TSLT leadership meeting. September 22nd is homelessness awareness. September 26th and the 27th are both TGT auditions, and September 30th is the community day and mattress sales. We have no student voice forms to present.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now I will go to Roman numeral 7.
Okay, all right. So we had a very good start of the school year, thanks to a lot of dedication from all of our employees, getting the buildings ready to open, getting our programming ready. Our teachers did a fabulous job, and I would like to also piggyback on what Chairman Herbert said about the heat. We managed to get through Tuesday and Wednesday on full days, but the buildings did heat up to a place that it was very uncomfortable, and we knew that more toward the end of the week it was going to be very hot in the classroom. So our teachers persevered, their attendance was impeccable, and they worked through it, and so did our students. But it was uncomfortable, and hopefully the crisp air is coming, although I hate to see summer go. That's for sure. Our enrollment, as you know, is going to fluctuate. I know that right at Mary R. Fisher, we are at 382 students. We're up. Where the middle school is 268, we're a little bit down. And then at the high school, we're reporting 214. But I know Dr. Mayo told me today that they've enrolled a few students up at the high school. So that number is going to increase. So the number right now is 865 students in our district as of September 1st. But we are still getting withdrawals and we are still getting enrollment. Usually by October 1st, it settles down. I do want to introduce the introduction of new employees to the board. I have a list. We invited those teachers to join us this evening. So if you are here with us, and we so appreciate you being here, if you could stand up so that board members can put a name to a face. So at Mary R. Fisher Elementary School, we are delighted to have Juliana George as our music teacher. Michael Piccoli is grade 2. I don't see him here. Angela Jankowski is our grade 1 teacher. Linda Voder is our grade 3 teacher. Emma Ray Clark is our grade 1 teacher. And Amanda Bonin, everybody knows Amanda, she was our choreographer and she's been a dance instructor in town for years, and also a Turtle Rock graduate. She is the administrative assistant at Mary R. Fisher. At Thompson Middle School, we have Emily Modica. She is our grade 7 math teacher. Libby Stearns, you would know her. She used to be our director of our plays, and she is now a one-year long-term sub grade 8 teacher. Alyssa Lynch is our grade 7 social studies teacher. I don't see her here tonight. But at the high school, we do have some of our members of our new faculty. We have Francis Sentcraft. He is our culinary arts instructor. Tom Smith is our English teacher. Gina Sexina is our special education teacher. Brooke Walker is our student behavior coordinator, and that position was grant funded through that mental health grant. And Kevin Tebow is our carpentry teacher. And the last teacher we hired for up at the high school, and she is here tonight, and you're gonna have to help me with your last name, Natalia Calderon Figueroa. Thank you. And she is our new Spanish teacher at the high school. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for working in Thompson. You're going to love it here. Right. So the next thing under my report is our assessment data for last year's SBAC and SAT, and a lot of information. I've asked Principal Granato, who also is the data queen in the district. She does all of our data analysis for us and manages all of our assessments, to put together a presentation based on the assessment data that we just received in the summer.
Yes, all right.
All right, so first I would just like to say thank you to Superintendent Smith for her vision and for the board of always standing behind that vision, for our curriculum leaders, and of course our teachers faculty and staff, because we are definitely growing, and it's so nice to see. I have to tell you, I don't know if any of you ever think of a day when, a time when you were so anxious to get a present, and you just knew it was going to be something good. And our kids worked so hard, thinking back when we went to, when we had the SBAC assessment. Worked so hard, and I just couldn't wait to open up the scores. Well, when we opened them up, I have to say, when I first digested them, along with Superintendent Smith, we were like, gee, all right. But then, as time went on, when you really digest them, we did so well, so much so, we have to commend our superintendent, because she was asked to go speak on, I forgot the date.
It was the PD day.
Yes.
Yeah, the 29th.
So she was called to go speak on behalf of Thompson of what we have done right through a pandemic and how our scores have improved and sustained while so many have gone down. So I hope tonight's presentation will give you a little feel for that. All right, so let's go. So where are we? So this presentation is going to give you a little bit of data and explain, as you well know, we are an opportunity district. And so with that opportunity district, we have to create 3 focal points. And so we're going to go over that, and we're going to go over the Smarter Balanced Assessment and MGSS and SAT scores, and some tools that we use as educators to navigate instruction. So for the first target area of ELA, we added some things this year. As you know, our curriculum leaders and our staff work so hard about implementing a scope and sequence. And so we've added to that. We have actually have an SRSD grant, which is a writing grant from K to 6. Teachers are undergoing professional development. We also have a different assessment going forward this year. Recommended by the state, we're going to be using DIBELS K-8, which is a screening tool. We also are going to be training 5 more teachers, classroom teachers, to embark on the OG certification, which is very rigorous. So I commend those teachers already for doing that. That is definitely a hard thing to get through. And in our 8, I believe we had 8 teachers that went through it last year, and they will be moving on to level 2. That's just a little bit about ELA. Mathematics, again, we're following our scope and sequence, adding some things to it. We also are arriving at IXL screener for the district, which is a universal screener that we're going to use this year, again, for the state, that we look at our assessments. And also, we are hoping, fingers crossed, that we receive a high dosage tutoring plan for middle school and grade 9. So hopefully that will all be in place. And then of course we have our school climate and culture goal. Great data that I'm going to present to you at the end about how our attendance has drastically improved, and how all of us are improving our PBIS, also with Talk Tuesdays and other things that you will see kind of at the end when we get into that. All right, so moving right along, I did want to bring to everybody's attention that the national report card that is given every year, a question that is confronting educators is that, the math scores for 4th and 8th graders saw their steepest decline since 1990. I'm going to show you how Thompson improved in most every grade. So we are doing so well. Okay. All right. So for our assessments, you will see reports on NEWA and DIBELS, and again, those are just student tools that we use as educators to navigate our instructions. It's not linked to state assessments whatsoever. So assessments for the state. As you know, one of our portrait of the graduates, we trying to get kids to be college ready, and any type of future that they want to embark on, that we have those skills that we're preparing them for. And that's basically what Smarter Balance does, to see where we are. Also with NGSS, that's our science assessment, and that's given in 4 domains. So you may be wondering, well, what does this all mean? So when you look at the performance levels, I'm just using an example in science, but level 1 basically just means that the student has not met the achievement. Level 2 means that they're approaching. Level 3, they're doing well, and level 4, they're above and beyond what is expected. One of the things that you'll see as we go on is we hear about a target of 75, and that's what the state uses to show the percentage of kids that met that target, okay? And also, what is very, very important that I need everyone to understand is that it's not so much what the score is, but it's the trend, and it's the improvement that a child is making that gives us the overall score, okay? All right, so this is just what the state just gave us recently. And basically, you'll see that that's the target of 75. You can see that hardly anyone is getting to 75. And also, the pandemic has shown us that, we're moving forward, except that we're still not where we need to be. And that's just nationwide, that's just the state of Connecticut. But you will look at, in the column of mathematics, you can see that people are making gains. Next. Okay, so where are we? Where is Thompson? And so we actually improved a whole percentage point, 35%. And you may say, oh, a percentage point. Well, that's huge. A percentage point is huge. ELA, we have 39%, and science, we remained at 40%. We can move on to that. So, ELA compared to the district compared to the state. You will see, God love grade 3, they are kicking it. And this is, I think, their 3rd year in a row in which they beat the state. 53% of the students are, they beat the state. The rest is, we're getting there. So we're at 42%, where the state is at 48. Grade 5, 39, where the state is at 51. But again, you can see the state isn't, they're nowhere near the 75% target either. So we're making gains. So you can go to the next slide. So this basically tells us the, one of the things that the state has been big on is giving us information about where were we pre-pandemic and where are we now. So basically, grade 3 started, it was 55%, and the percentage of now post, we're at 53. Grade 4, pre, 47%, now 42. Grade 5, 36%, we're up 39%. Grade 6, 41%, 36%. Grade 7, 32%, and we're up 35%. And that's a significant increase, by the way. And then grade 8, 27 pre-pandemic and 27, so we sustain. Again, why the commissioner invited Superintendent Smith, because we are definitely sustaining, and
They said, quote unquote, we're holding our own.
we're holding our own. Hey, that's, so one of the things I wanted to bring to your, remember I said to you that the most important thing is that the students show growth. So collectively, okay, we look at longitudinal data, and that means the same group over years as they go up. So obviously, grade 3 doesn't have any, they're just grade 3 until they get to grade 4, right? So then we use this. So we say grade 4 ELA. As you can see, they are just shooting right up there. So they are just on that climb. So, and that's like the 2nd year in a row that we're doing so well in grade 3. Next slide. Grade 4, same thing, doing well. We're still showing an increase, which means that the trend that is the kids are doing the right thing. They're making progress. Next slide. Again, you will see making progress. Next slide, again, grade 7 and grade 8. Another grade, ooh, that's a little fast.
I'm sorry.
But grade 8, and look at that, grade 8. They really made a big difference from all their years, so they really have done a nice job. Even though you will say, but grade 8's scores were so low. Yes, but the group as a whole are making great improvements, so that's what we want to see. Okay, now you can go on. All right, so now we talk about math. So math, where are we district compared to the state? You can see that the district scored 35, the state scored 42. Grade 3, 63%, beat the state at 49. Grade 4, 50%, beat the state at 48. Grade 5, 24, 41. Grade 6, 26, 39, 23, and then 39, and grade 8, 27, 36. But you will see they're still climbing up as a group. So it doesn't always look good there, but you will see. Next slide. Again, this is what we want to look at. Where were we pre-pandemic to now? So in grade 3, 4, 5, and 8, we are above where we were, which is great news. So again, just showing we're moving in the right direction. Next slide. And again, it's on the upswing. Grade 4 math, up. Grade 5, still made some improvements, but this is what we use to say to ourselves, okay, how are we gonna, keep in mind we do have a new math curriculum, so that takes time to evolve. Next slide, please. And again, grade 6 on the rise, grade 7, doing well as a group, and grade 8, doing well as a group. All right, science. So as you know, science is only tested in grade 5, 8, and 11. So grade 5 last year was 44%. We went up 3%. That's huge. Grade 8 remained the same at 36%, and grade 11 increased 3% since the pandemic. So our scope and sequence, where we have our FOSS kits embedded and everyone's on the same scope, follow through scope and sequence, is paying off. Next slide, please. So you will see that the district pre-pandemic is doing better than post-pandemic as a district as a whole, and in grade 5 and 8. Next slide. So the next part of our slide is just going over the different forms of assessment and how teachers use DIBELS as a reading screener universally, and they use this to figure out who is going to need some Title I instruction and how they're doing. And so we just want to see improvement, which we can see there on the upswing. Everybody's improving. This is our NEWA and ELA. This is the percent of people that have met the target. And again, that is used as a growth tool. So keep in mind, that is not saying that in grade 2, 49% are proficient. It's just saying that 49% are meeting the growth expectancy for that time period, okay? And again, and that's basically for math as well. Next slide. So now we're gonna take a look at SAT in grade 11. This was very eye-opening to me when I did the research. The average SAT score is 20, SAT. It was 20 points below from the pandemic. So kiddos in grade 11 nationally are struggling with their SATs. So for us this year, 36% met proficiency, 8 exceeded. That said that 42% of our students met or exceeded in ELA for SATs. 59%, our score last year, but keep in mind, different group last year, right? We have different 11th graders. It was at 59, and the state comes in at 52% this year that met and exceeded. For math, 22% met proficiency, 2% exceeded, therefore gave us a score of 24% that met and exceeded. Last year, we were at 27, but again, keep in mind, different group of kids, and the state came in at 34% that met and exceeded. So here is the big talk of the town, attendance works. We have drastically improved our attendance. As you can see, we have significantly gone up with our attendance. So the rule is you want to get to 95. So for Mary R. Fisher, we're at 92. So if you look, where were we pre-pandemic, which was the that's another slide, I'm sorry, but those are over the 3 years. For the middle school, we're at 92, almost 93%, and for the high school, they're running 89. Next slide. So for chronic attendance, the rule of thumb here is you want the percentage to be down, okay? So I put a slide over there. If you can look at the bottom right, you will see that the state of Connecticut before the pandemic was at 12% chronic. The state of Connecticut last year, the year before, was at 23.7. Now, last year, 21. So now we were at 23% last year. We went down, the state was 23. The state is now at 21. The district was at 39. We are at 24. Now that is fantastic, fantastic. Mary R. Fisher, 36 down to 18. But of course, TMS comes in first, and we were 41 down to 18, just saying, my friends. And the high school, 40, and totally went down to 32. So we have done an outrageously great job of, and that's the help of Teague and our attendance talk Tuesdays, all of us principals getting together every week with our attendance, chronic attendance, and just reaching out to, local agencies to help us out. Next slide. So now now that I've gone over all the scores, every individual who took SBAC or NGSS is going to receive a copy going home on Friday. And this basically is what it's going to look like. To you, the board, and to all the parents out there, please understand that this is just a snapshot of one day. This does not indicate what your child is going to do for the rest of their lives. It is just a snapshot of how they're doing for us as educators and for you as parents to see, hopefully, growth over years. Please don't panic over a lot of students maybe not performing where you think as a parent they are performing. It's just to look at and say, okay, and it gives you some tips of how you can improve and what exact areas in which your child can improve in. And we as a staff are in professional development, and we actually look at that as well. So again, go back to those, now you can understand how we wrap around and we come up with those focus areas of literacy, math, and our culture and climate. So we got all that information, and as you can see, we're hitting all the areas that we need to. With our grant in writing, with our revised, we are also adding interim block assessments. We've changed the SBAC schedule to reflect, we kind of split it up a little bit more going forward this year. So we're trying not to get so test crazy, just trying to have it more embedded in the curriculum than just take the test. It's a lot for these kiddos. I would just like to advocate for that. And I think that's it. I left a postcard, an index card for each board member. Data is crazy, like you start looking at it and you may have questions. Feel free to write it down, give it to me at the next meeting. Email me a question. For any parent out there who doesn't understand their individual report that is going home on Friday, feel free to reach out to me, Kim Renato at Thompson Middle School. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have our NEASC update. We do.
We have our high school team here.
We're gonna try to be as brief as possible with our little NEASC presentation here. Doesn't seem like very long ago that Mike and I were standing up here. I remember I was pregnant for my son, who's now 11. And I remember Joe saying, "Are you sure you're gonna be able to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, Joe, don't worry about it." But yeah, so we're into another accreditation cycle. The process has actually changed quite a bit. It's I think in some ways more streamlined. In other ways, it kind of spreads across more years than it would have before. So we're looking at a decennial visit in 2026, but our self-evaluation, our self-reflection is going on this school year. And we're having what's called a collaborative conference in March, where 5 reps from different schools with, NEASC team will come out to visit our school, and we will work together with this NEASC team to create a plan for improvement, for growth, for our decennial visit in 2026. So, Bryce, if you would just kind of,
Just a quick word. There's a lot in this presentation that we're deciding maybe we don't have to stress tonight. I'm trying to get to that. After we met with the liaison a couple weeks ago, and Dr. Mayo and I went through some PD on it, we kind of know better how the process works, so maybe we could save you some time. Certainly, if you have a question, we can go back to it. But for tonight, we'll hit the high points out.
and this slide really has a lot to do with the high points. This is the process. We will complete the self-reflection, which really requires our staff to look at the 5 standards of accreditation and all of the indicators and provide evidence of our, the level of meeting these indicators under the standards. And we will meet with that group, that collaborative group from NEASC in March, and together we will decide what our priorities for growth will be, that we will then be working on between, then we're already working on them, of course, we're always working to improve the school, but we'll be focusing in on those priority areas for growth before our decennial visit. And then when they come out to the decennial visit, they'll be really focusing in on those priority growth areas and how we've done working on those. So, as a staff this year, we're really looking at providing evidence and writing those self-reflections so that we're ready for determining what our priority areas for growth are, and that's collaborative conference.
I can
Oh, I can even do that. Go ahead. So, these are the standards of accreditation. Those of you that have been around for a while, you'll remember there were 7, now there's 5. They kind of squished them all into 5 anyway, but the whole process is a lot easier because it doesn't require at this stage, like everybody under the sun in the school district and beyond, to be a part of the process. It's really focused on the staff and administration to be doing the self-reflection. And then when we get into the decennial visit, we'll have more of that required participation. But these are the standards. You'll notice that there are stars, and I don't know if this presentation has been shared with the board completely, like the copies of the slides or anything, but I can email this to all of you. The indicators that are starred underneath each of the standards are what are called foundational elements. And foundational elements means like you can't fail these. These must be met. And again, it's not by this spring, but by the decennial visit of 2026. So the process is really one that it's helpful to allowing us to look at where we need to grow and really be able to get there between now and 2026 versus you got a report card next spring that you've got to be meeting. And then if you don't meet it, you're on probation. I mean, it's less punitive. It's more, we're here to help you grow and build as a school. So when you look through the standards later, it doesn't have to be tonight, obviously standard 1, learning culture. And then you'll notice some of those key indicators that, we certainly we're working on, and I think we're definitely meeting several of those foundational elements. There are some of concern that we certainly probably will be creating growth goals for. So you can kind of just, you'll see learning culture, the next one, student learning. Both of these standards you'll see are POG heavily reflected there. So your work with the Portrait of a Graduate is really, really key here, and the continued work that all schools I know are doing with the Portrait of a Graduate. And we'll just go through right here. Okay. Professional practices, learning support, and learning resources. So those are the 5 standards, and you saw some of the foundational elements there. When we first met as this NEASC steering committee, we kind of saw some that were more of concern than others. We also met as a staff on the first day of school and unpacked all of the standards. We kind of sat down as a staff and gave ourselves ratings on each of the indicators, which really kind of helped us to set some of our own personal goals for the school year. So this is just another slide that tells you about what the self-reflection is. And the check marks are some of the steps that we've already taken towards completing the self-reflection this year. The steering committee was formed. Mike and I were gluttons. And then Katie Jambard-Orn, Deb Spinelli, who said she's okay. She was okay with not coming up here to talk with us tonight. And Tracy Williams. And then each of us picked we call them our sidekicks, but to join us in also being on the self-reflection committee. And the self-reflection committee is helping the steering committee to write those self-reflection reports. All staff members, however, are really needed to help provide the evidence to write those reports. And the other key piece of evidence is a survey that will go out to all staff, all students, all parents, and we have to meet certain levels of participation on those surveys. So if you're out there and you're listening, make sure you complete that survey, parents. We're gonna want and need your input, your feedback. So we gather all that evidence and then we write the self-reflection reports, the self-reflection committee that joins the steering committee. So the self-reflection committee includes Kate Anderson, she's my sidekick. Bianca Prouty is Katie's. Trish Tupai, Jay Bruce, and Matt Fontaine are working with Deb. Did I hit everybody? I think so. Oh, Tracy's sidekick is Jan Dupri. So we've got a nice mix there of veterans as well as some new staff like Matt who have come on board to be part of this process, because not all of us will be here in 10 years from now. So it's good to get some of the new blood in there. We did prepare the staff. The first PD day was graciously given to us to work on, like I said, unpacking those standards. And our second department meeting, our second faculty meeting of every month, Dr. Mayo has said that we can really use much of that time to gather the evidence. There's a lot to be done to write those self-reflection reports and make sure that we are choosing the priority areas that are most appropriate for us to be working on in the next 3 years. The NEASC opinion surveys that were mentioned, NEASC just did an overhaul of those opinion surveys, so we're waiting on getting those surveys from them so that we can distribute them and get them back. We hope to get more information from our liaison, Carl Johnson, who's coming out on Wednesday. He'll be here to brief the leadership team, the steering committee, self-reflection committee, and he will do a whole 1-hour meeting with the staff on Wednesday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So we'll get even more information from him. But we did meet with him, as Mike said, I don't know, hour and a half or so this summer. Deb was there, Nate, of course. And, I really like him. And he had a lot of information for us. And the big message from him was, it's okay. This is going to be fine. We're here to help. We're here to help you grow. We're not here to give you a report card. So that was really nice to hear, straight from the ask itself. So we'll be meeting with him on Wednesday, and then we'll be able to hopefully hear from him when we can get those surveys, get them out. The school and community summary was already written this summer by Katie Jambard and our very own Mike Joyce as well. That's ready to be put out to the staff for approval. The budget was done last year, and I'm just waiting for some more information from Carl to send over to Melinda and Danielle, who have already offered to really help out with accommodating the visiting team, et cetera. Nate's working on the look back report, and we have already created our system of collecting evidence, and we've already collected some evidence, so we're moving along. So we've done a lot of this as well, and we will begin collecting evidence in a more focused manner, starting with our second faculty meeting this month. So that's mostly what we're going to be doing this year, collecting evidence, writing reports. Once those reports are written, as a staff, we all have to approve those reports, and then the steering committee will meet, take a look at the reports, and determine what we believe to be our priority areas for growth. Then when the NEAS team comes out, they kind of, tour the school, visit some classrooms, and they sit down and they look at what we believe we need to really focus in on, and they help us to ensure that our trajectory is what we really want to be doing. They told us flat out, 2.2 will be a foundational principle, a foundational element that you're gonna have to work on, and that's having a complete curriculum for all,
He said
come on.
every school he's ever worked with has had issues with that. If you're gonna have new courses, they're not gonna be complete curriculums.
We have a lot of new courses, which is a really great thing, and we're continuing to work on that. So they'll sit down with us and they'll make sure that we have the priority areas for growth that we really want to be focusing on, so that we earn accreditation once again in 2026, which I have no doubt we will do. There's just going to be a lot of work before then, but we'll do it like we always do.
I think the reassuring thing is, as you talk to the people from NEAS, they're talking about reports in terms of paragraphs as opposed to multiple pages as the old ones were. It was a very tree killing type of report. So now they're trying to really focus on it to try and streamline it down so you can identify what it is we feel like we need to work on. And then we both did decennial visits a couple of years ago where we looked at the back end of it and double checked that all the those goals were actually addressed. That's what our
Dr.
reports
Mayo,
are.
I think, is going on a visit shortly, right?
Yeah, end of October.
That'll be the consultative one, so he'll know exactly what we're doing. It's not from the finished product.
There's just a lot of other, this is our timeline as well that we're working from. So a lot of this stuff is not anything we really, it kind of suffices to say, we're working on the self-reflection. They're coming out in March, and we'll be ready. And if you have any questions, of course, we'll be coming back to talk to you about, once we get past the collaborative visit and what are our priority areas for growth and how we're going to be, meeting those goals, our plans, and, obviously we'll be collecting evidence from everywhere. So if we come knocking on your door, we'd love to get the evidence as quickly as possible. So I think that's it. Any questions for now?
I have a quick question.
Please.
So a lot of what you've kind of talked about is talking about either staff or student growth and climate and other things. Knowing that budget is what the budget is, and knowing that they're coming in March with the final verdict in 2026, are there any things that we should know about that have a budget impact? Things that they're going to ask to have done, and then we're only going to have a year and a half to do it, basically.
Well, I think if we develop a plan to address whatever it is in the facilities that they might note.
So they'll make note in March when they come, so that we can.
That's a good question to
pre-plan.
ask.
Well, the last time, remember, the big budget items were, they had track
Lockers, we've already taken care of, but the tennis court, I thought we took care of some of the lockers.
We did the locker room,
Right,
Alright,
but
so-
not the actual lockers.
So will NEASC, to Heather's point, will NEASC say, listen, you had 11 years to correct this, and we haven't taken a step forward. Track, tennis court, locker rooms or whatever,
What's the locker room? How's it going?
and those are probably the biggest budget ones. Have they said anything about that?
So
Or-
these are our, this is the, I think really, like this, it used to be school and community resources standard 7. Now it's standard 5, which Deb's in charge of. And so Deb will be bugging Bill and Melinda. She does that really well.
I mean, I have no fear that everything that we've done educationally,
Right.
we're gonna pass.
Right.
We did it before, we're gonna do it again. My thing is,
financial,
to Heather's point,
Right.
some of these things are
facility and
on
money.
budget, yeah.
Yeah, so when you're looking at this particular standard, which is relating most to what you are talking about, Heather, we have this is a foundational element. The school site and plant support the delivery of curriculum, programs, and services. Now, when we do our self-reflection, if we determine that really one of our goals is to better, that we're not meeting this indicator under this standard for certain reasons, this is a foundational element, we cannot be accredited, but we need to be careful there as well, right? So, because we want accreditation, and so I don't know if that answers your question, but
Do they dictate though, like when they come in March, do they make note of certain things that they don't feel fit the level of
so
facility?
we work with them to determine what those priority areas are going to be. And so it's less that dictation that it used to be, like where we could kind of, I think, use it more to our advantage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is, I think still though, if we are not meeting certain foundational elements and we find that to be true, and that is an element of great concern, and we are not truly providing enough resources for the delivery of curriculum program, then that's something that we want to set as an area for growth. And we need to make sure that the community knows that.
But it's much less. I think you probably remember you certainly remember Plainfield got a new school after we asked started their own school.
Oh.
Okay, it's not so much that.
But I guess, are we in, so, let me see if I can just rephrase this. We know the situation at the track, we're working on that. Tennis courts isn't even on the radar. So are we better off having the town tar that over and make it into a skateboard park just to paint the pig, in other words?
No, I mean, there isn't as much of, like, in these indicators and standards, I know what you're saying, Tom, because I remember, like, we were able to kind of.
Yeah, we glossed over it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can gloss over it now. They're gonna be like, you had 11 years to fix it. Where you at?
I don't think they're gonna ask about the tennis courts.
Okay.
And they don't. I did a NEASC visit at a school that had been on probation for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they probably remained on probation, but they really were looking for the positive.
And I think that's what happened,
Yeah.
is that these schools were like put on probation for those things, and they got a bad name, even though they were delivering sound curriculum, instruction, or whatever, but because they didn't have the financial support, they were put on probation.
So
And-
this idea of like the probation thing, I'm an ES chair, so I'm actually
He
taking the
knows.
team out to another school at the end of October. So, totally different mindset than ES. It used to be an I got you, you have to use, you have to do, you have to. It's not that mindset anymore. It's how can we work together with the district or the school in order to improve the educational opportunities for students. That's really what their mindset is. So when they come in, like the collaborative visit is not I got you, it's they're gonna come in and work together with the staff to try to kind of help form what our goals are for the next visit. That's really all they're here for. So they're not gonna nail us on what we don't have or whatever. They may come in and say, hey, we're looking at certain things, okay, you're doing this, how would you guys foresee yourselves getting to this point? And they will work with us to get there.
Yeah, because it's not like we're not trying, we're
No,
continually trying
you're
to
not.
do this and we're
I
getting
got
shot
you.
down.
It used to be, and I got you, many years ago, it was like, hey, if you don't have this, I mean, we used to measure the chops between the side, the wall and the bench, like, oh my God, it's not enough feet or whatever, then we nail them on that. That's not the way it is anymore, it's more collaborative, so it's like, they come in and say, hey, okay, if you're lacking in this, you really have to show that you're making efforts, that's really what they want. It's less about now, it's hard lines, it's like, okay, we're gonna make an effort, and they're here to assist us now, instead of being the big brother who says, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. Their role now is more, how can we assist you in getting to where you want?
Tom, if you look at 5.1A, they're talking about to deliver the curriculum, programs, and services. Well, we don't offer tennis as a
Well, that's
curriculum,
part of it,
program,
so
and service,
it's almost like it's a moot point, but they still asked about it, even though we didn't have a tennis team. So,
I think somebody might have brought it up to them.
okay.
I think that's the only
So it
reason.
sounds to me it's more like a consultation kind of committee that comes in. That's basically what they're doing, right?
Yes, in
Okay.
this spring, and then
Pickleball?
it's a little bit more of a serious, you know,
Okay.
piece, it's all serious, but in 2026, it's
Right.
okay, you've
Right.
met all the foundational elements,
Right.
you've done this work on your priorities for growth,
Gotcha.
these are ways you want to still continue to be working.
Right, so it's not as, it's a daunting task, but not as much of a scary task.
That's how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, okay, all right. And then to piggyback off of what Heather was kind of saying, I think what we're wary about any kind of financial.
Right.
So if we can get the heads up as soon as possible, so then we can start bringing it to the Board of Finance, just trickling it down the pipeline if there is financial. But it sounds like, we've made progress towards that, with the track, and we did secure that funding, and, but if there is anything, if we can try to get it down the pike as fast as we can, just to get them on the same page for 2026.
Well, when we come as a staff, and we can do this before the collaborative conference, we can tell you what we have determined to be our priority areas for growth.
Okay.
And then in March, we'll have that with the collaborative conference, and so hopefully that will help arm you a bit in the spring.
Right, perfect timing for
Yeah.
budget season as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to put some monetary numbers on it.
Yeah.
Once we figure it out.
I mean, as a staff, when we unpack the standards and indicators on that first day, it's pretty positive. Mostly, they provide rubrics, and we are mostly at the developing or transforming level. There's 5 levels, and we were either in the middle or launching towards transforming. So, but yeah, certainly there are some, and even some foundational elements of concern, but we have 3 years to be working on those and making sure we're meeting for accreditation. Yeah, use it for community support as well. Good. All right.
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment. Having gone through this before, I know what a daunting task it can be. And it's a lot of work. And you and Mike kind of spearheaded it before. And I, for one, want to thank you both for kind of doing this again.
Yeah.
Because
Got a great team.
Well, yeah.
it's a lot of work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you very much. Okay, those new staff members who want to leave can go home. You've got busy days tomorrow. If you choose to leave, you may leave. Okay, next up are the administrative reports, and we'll just go through, starting with the Charlotte Memorial High School.
I'll make mine quick.
Dr. Mayo?
The future Super Bowl champions are playing 8:20.
Oh, my
Puppy
God.
kicking.
Something played last night.
Thank you, obviously, the staff for the open this summer, actually this fall. They did a great job. A lot of my dates, my liaisons actually covered, so the only other thing I want to throw in front of you is Mrs. Olette, Mrs. Tupai, Coach Spinelli, were all recognized by the state. They're going to be presenting on October 12th down in Connecticut and Hartford on Pride Days. So everyone knows with Portrait of Graduate, every district has either Portrait of Graduate, Vision of Graduate, or something along those lines. And those 3 women are being recognized by the state for their work in Pride. And they are going to present to the rest of the state of Connecticut on what happens up here in Thompson for Pride Day. So that's an example of community connectedness, which a lot of other high schools are trying to get to right now. So I just want to make you all aware of that as you're coaching. That's all I have.
Mrs. Granado.
All right, round two. Well, we had a fantastic opening. I just want to welcome our new staff. We had a great professional development before school started. Everyone is working really hard to be unified and working hard with our PBIS. We have some fun things which you guys will be invited to, so look out for an invitation. We hope that you can make it. We are also having some fundraisers for our PBIS to make it even better and stronger. And we want to thank the board and Superintendent Smith for letting us go home Friday. The teachers were so very grateful and appreciative of that. And that's basically it. We had open house tonight, but I'll tell you about that next time.
Mr. Prentice, what's the elementary school up to?
Folks, doing very well. Shout out to all the teachers, paraeducators, administrative assistants, cafeteria, maintenance, health. Great job, super smooth opening, super smooth. Pre-K and K had their orientation. Shout out to those teachers. And the parents really enjoyed the orientation. September 6th, we braved the weather and the heat, and we had a fantastic open house, very well attended. The elementary school always seems to have very well attended events, so I'm very proud of that. Safety team is meeting, PBIS team is meeting, attendance team is meeting. Shout out to Kimberly Granado for the data presentation, great job. Grade 3 obviously takes the cake, as they always do, nice work. And then Mike, Cindy, and the team for the presentation, great job. So, yeah, Michael Higby was a second grade teacher, I don't know if we mentioned.
I did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Dr. Jones, you want to tell us about what's going on with pupil services, please?
Yes. As Superintendent Smith said, we have 865 students, of which 209 fall into special education. We have 72 students with 504s. Our out-of-district number at the time of the report was 20. It's actually at 19. Bradley School, Windham County has a total of 22. Of our 19 students that are outplaced, we are using 4 vehicles. So I just wanted to have the most up-to-date number to start the year. So again, 19 students outplaced, 22 in the Bradley program. Of the 19, we're using 4 vehicles. Stop the year.
That's amazing.
So that puts us at roughly 24% of our student population in special education. We have 8 neighboring districts that are participating in our Bradley program. When I started here 5 years ago, we had 20 students outplaced, and of the 20, we had 13 vehicles transporting those students. So just as you take that into account, we've got it down to 4. I know that number will fluctuate, but again, to start the year, so everybody hears that, we're using 4 vehicles.
How many?
My schedule, helping out at the high school, Monday and Tuesday, I'm at the high school in the afternoon. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm there in the morning, and then Friday, kind of going back and forth. Case management, we shifted that to the case managers. So rather than the administrative assistant and pupil services scheduling all the meetings for special educators, related service providers, it is now on the case manager to schedule the meeting of those students that they have on their caseload. CHR, I provided you with the schedule of when they are here in the district. So on Monday, CHR is in the middle in the elementary school. Tuesday, alternating between middle and high, that's every other week. And then on Thursday, in the middle school and the elementary. And we have one, I want to steal Mrs. G's thunder, we have one open position. life skills at the high school. Thank you.
Kathleen?
Mr.
Kathleen?
Just one question.
Sure.
Dr. Jones,
Yes.
one vehicle represents approximately how much
70 this year, about 70,000.
per vehicle?
Yeah.
That's huge savings. That might be a communication committee report.
Good
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Steglitz.
Look out, the accounting guy's wearing a smile this time.
Yeah, we're in the
It's kinda
black.
nice. I don't wanna get too excited, but where we were last year, if you remember, we were actually about $240,000 in the red. I stood before you at this time last year. That settled down a little bit, and the numbers will still change, but as of right now, we are actually about $70,000 in the black. We are still going through the final scrub of the numbers. I would love to tell you that that was some miracle, brilliant financial modeling, but I think it has more to do with global warming and a mild winter. That helped us, it helped the town. But in all seriousness, I think we could say there was some increased financial discipline this time around, which was really nice to see. Got a lot of help from the department heads and Eileen in particular in the finance office in tightening up our encumbrances. You see, there's only about $13,000 worth of encumbrances that are still open from last year. That's more in line with the accounting guidance. I know I just put everybody to sleep with that one, but it's, from my perspective, it's nice to see, and I think the auditors will like it. So that's the big takeaway there. Pupil services and transportation are the two specific departments that are in the red. However, we're seeing improvement in pupil service. It must have something to do with transportation, I think.
70,000 per vehicle.
But the numbers are looking better there. We had talked about the overages in transportation at past meetings. When it comes to other items, the cafeteria report is attached. You'll see that, once again, and I have to caveat this every time, things look good on this report with this presentation, but this is before their budget costs, if you got their benefits costs. If you were to add those in, they'd be about $10,000 to $15,000 in the black for the year. A lot of that has to do with a lot of the work that Lisa's doing in getting some additional grant funds in. She's constantly chasing more grant money, and it's really great to see. Our annual EFS filing with the state of Connecticut was completed on time. And you're all gonna love to hear about this, but it's already time to talk about the FY 2023 audit. The auditors were back in June for their interim. We successfully completed that portion of the program, and we were able to move their year-end field work up into to late October, which should help out in how the year unfolds. And really the goal there is to try to get the audit done late fall, early winter, so there isn't a lot of overhang with the budget cycle. We're on their schedule, which was, at least at the moment, they don't have staffing challenges on their end this year like they had last year, which is really what pushed things a little bit later. So that's some good news there too. Any questions?
Are we on state and the Fed and their grants and their reimbursements?
We did receive the reimbursement for the security gates, which was great to see. That was just over 200,000. Is Bill in the room? Is that right, Bill?
Yeah, that was
Just over 200,000, if I remember right. We're starting to work on closing out the school roof project. There was one little bit of landscaping work that still had to happen, but that's coming along too. I thought I saw another hand.
Yeah, Danielle, audit, is that public information
Yes.
presented, and where could the public find the information?
It's actually on the town website.
Town website, you can find all the audit information on the town website.
Say that again, louder.
The school's audit is on the town website. Every year, we're getting audited in October.
That's an independent firm.
By an independent firm.
Nothing is hidden.
Thank you.
All set.
Thank you, Bill. The other Bill, Birch, Mr. Birch.
Pretty much like everybody else said, we had a pretty smooth start to school. We had the usual things that
crop up that first week of school that we didn't expect. We had some hot water issues in high school. That's been resolved. The summer went pretty well. We did a lot of work on the kitchen for the new culinary arts program, but that's just about ready to go. They should be cooking in there shortly. All in all, it was pretty quiet and things went well.
Heather, you zooming in?
Yes, good evening. I'm Zooming tonight. So we had a really busy start to our year as always. Last month we had over 300 tickets in our system. But just a big thank you to my staff and to the teachers for just being really patient with us. It's never easy at the beginning of the year, especially with a new SIS changeover. Chris, our network technician, was really busy at the town hall working on a lot of security updates down there over the summer. Danette's been busy, as Melinda said, with student registrations and withdrawals, as well as, we're both trying to tie up and correct any data uploads in PowerSchool. The next couple months will still be a lot of PowerSchool for us. We'll be going over designing things like transcripts and report cards. Those are, and a lot of the secretaries have reached out. They'd like some customized reports. So those are a lot of things that they don't really go over with us at implementation. We kind of have to dive into what other schools have made, take some of their reports and then customize them for us. So I'll be working a lot on that. Working with Principal Granato still on building out the new teacher evaluation program. We have the forms built in there, but we have another day of training as far as setting up the process behind that. And we rolled out the parent portal and the student portal accounts. We had some glitches in the beginning, but we took care of them right away. And for the most part, I think it went really well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Ms. Giamarinaro.
Hello. So on the board's tables tonight, I put a small piece of paper. Melinda had asked me to speak about the exit interview process that I handle, and I told them to leave it together for you. Once we received notice that a employee is leaving us, I set up a meeting in either in my school office or at the town hall, whichever they prefer, so that they can come see me. I ask specific questions. I ask about their job. I ask about if there's underlying issues, what our strengths are as a district, what our weaknesses are, what they loved about us. I ask if they're respected by their coworkers and their administrators or directors. I ask about the feedback that they're getting from their direct supervisors. And then I talk about compensation, and I ask them if we're competitive in our compensation with other districts, not just in Connecticut, but in Massachusetts and in Rhode Island, wherever they're going. We did lose a number of positions that I did put on the paper this year. Out of those positions, 34%, which was 8 people, their first reason why they were leaving was money, 8 of them. And then you can see the round robin. 13% were non-renewals, 13% were layoffs, 2 people retired, 1 was a job performance, 1 was because of a sick family member, 2 were career changes. They were completely getting out of the education business. 2 were location. Of those 2 that were location, the first reason they were leaving was location. It was a half-hour closer to their house. And the second one was money, because that person is making more money there. And then job satisfaction was 2 of them. I've worked for a little over 2 years with the Board of Ed in Thompson Public Schools, and I've really tried to build a level of confidentiality in my office so that everybody can feel they can come to me. If I see a problem or I see a trend or something that gets up my spidey sense, then I go see Mrs. Smith. But I really try to keep everything confidential. And just to let them know that they have that space that they can come see me. So, and I think everybody in the school now has my cell phone number because I get texts all the time. So the rest of my board report is the open jobs that I put in the packet. So I'm just going to leave that there. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. thank you for this report. It does help us.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Grauer, how are we dealing with this uptick in COVID?
We have, we don't have a ton of people out right now. We have a few in different schools. If you test positive for COVID, you have to be out for 5 days, so that hasn't changed. I don't have to report it to the state like I was reporting it. They're surveilling it like they surveil the flu or RSV now. So when I get notification that somebody's tested positive, I handle it. If I don't know, I don't know. If kids are sick, we send them home. That's about it. Just some stomach bugs going around, a little bit of strep here and there, but nothing too crazy yet.
So, I mean, I guess I should rephrase my question. Is it affecting our school, or are we?
There are cases here and there,
Okay,
but it's not
okay.
a lot.
And Shannon did just secure some updated COVID tests so that if families need them, they are available in the nurse's
coming
office.
Getting delivered from the department.
And Ms. Benelli. Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Gotta go a little taller.
Okay, we opened, middle school sports does not open for another couple of weeks because there's a 10-day window of practicing, and with all the heat, we canceled practices, so they're delayed. But we had good numbers. Girls soccer, we had 40 kids, 40 girls try out. Middle school boys, we kept all 18 that tried out, and cross country's up to 17. The high school football opened Saturday, boys on Saturday and the girls today. And we have one cheerleader, and our numbers look pretty good. Boys soccer team this year has 17 kids. Girls are we're at 21. Only 2 cross country kids, 1 boy and 1 girl. And then the football, we got 10. Oh, and a cheerleader this year. Okay.
I don't have any old business down here. Does anybody have any old business that they want to bring up? Okay. New business, the non-lapsing account approval.
You heard Bill's report, and the report for FY '23 is that there is a balance there of around 73,000. Obviously, the audit has to happen, but I need your permission to write to the Board of Finance so that any money that is left in the Board of Ed's budget after all the audit is complete be transferred into the non-lapsing account. Currently, we have about $40,000 left in that account after we bought the 2 boilers, correct, Bill?
Yep.
So there should be about that much money in that account, but I would think that anything that was left over should shift to that account for unexpected expenses in capital or special education. So, but I need your permission to write that letter to ask for those funds. I want to do it ahead of time, just so that the Board of Finance is aware that we're going to request that.
I'll make a motion that the superintendent makes that request of the Board of Finance.
I'll second.
Seconded it?
Just.
Okay, just second, okay. There's been a motion to allow the superintendent to write the letter for the non-lapsing account. Second, any discussion on this motion?
Is it for 40 or for 70?
Well, we won't know yet.
Holland is just getting in front of this,
So
so that if there is money left over.
40 in there now.
right, are you going for 70 or are you going for?
So whatever's left over after the auditors, right now the number is 73,000, but that could change once they finish their audit.
All
So
right.
whatever's left.
All right.
Left after the finalized audit, what's in the account now is 40,000.
That's left over from, if I might, that's left over from 2 years ago.
Yeah. Last year was a loss.
That's after, as Melinda mentioned, we fixed a couple of boilers. So that $40,000 is what's left from a couple of years ago.
Which is exactly why the money's there, for that kind of thing.
Yep.
And thank goodness it was there, because those boilers were how much, Bill? 80?
Yeah, but I think it was around that.
I guess my question is, I thought we were looking to do another repair. So am I right or wrong? I thought we had another boiler that was failing.
We do have another boiler that's failing, but we're kind of holding off on that because we wrote it into the HVAC.
Okay, that's right. Okay, all right.
But on that note, you have a lot of equipment that is well past its age here.
Well, that's why I'm wondering, should we ask for more?
Can't ask for any.
This is our money that's left over, we just
Yeah,
wanna
I
save
know,
it.
but at the same point, if we're gonna say that we have 40, but we're gonna need 80, are we shooting ourselves in the foot by just saying we have 40,000?
No, we have 40 in the account now, or we wanted to take the 70 that's left over, so we would then have 110.
This
Are we gonna
this
have
is just so it
110?
doesn't go back.
I would anticipate that 70 will come down.
A little.
I just want that number to be not
Black.
at the end of
Okay,
all.
all right.
Doesn't matter if
Move
it's
forward with
700
this,
bucks,
we'll
we're
cross
gonna
the
keep
next bridge when we
Sorry.
get there. Go ahead. Trying to anticipate, but go ahead.
I guess the letter will have to be
Vague
an
and
estimated number.
Leave it open-ended.
Pending audit results, but
Right,
Whatever's
we're
remaining.
anticipating
Yeah.
70,000.
right.
We're anticipating ending in the black, and any funds should be transferred into this account.
And reminding us for those one-time emergencies.
Giving it back
But
is
they
easier
already
than asking to
they already
get it
okayed
back.
it, so.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, we have to put it in the fund so we can take it out of the fund.
I know, but it's easier putting it back in, but asking to get it back has always been a challenge. So I'm just trying to,
Well, that, we can ask them to pay for it, and they're not gonna do that, so.
put it in the
Okay.
biggest,
Val has her hand up.
Yes, Val.
For either Melinda or Bill. So we didn't get any money from the HVAC first round, right?
Nope, that grant just opened up on Friday.
Right, 244 million. Are we gonna try to get some more, some of that
Absolutely.
money? Okay.
Absolutely. It's due December 31st, right, Bill?
Have we cleared up the language or any of the other problems that we thought we had with the first submission?
So we did, we had a meeting with Department of Administration. We cleared up the issues from the first round, which we certainly were not the only district that had that same problem. They've corrected that for the second round, and they sent us a packet of initial guidance to go through as we get ready to submit the second one. I'm pretty confident the second one's going to be much easier.
Did you see my email today? My email today was encouraging alliance districts to please apply for that grant.
Way ahead of them.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, so the motion on the floor is to allow or to encourage or to direct, I guess is the correct word, to direct, I'll paraphrase your motion, but to direct the
The
superintendent to write a letter to the Board of Finance requesting that any monies left over from the June 30th, 2023 school year, which we're anticipating to be somewhere in the vicinity of $70,000, but we won't know the exact number until the audit is finalized, be transferred into our non-lapsing account. Correct? Okay. So I will put that motion to the floor for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say no. Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes unanimously. Has any of you received any correspondence? I've received none, other than on Facebook. I'm not going to the road. I will open the floor again to citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments from Zoom? Hearing none, I will request a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.